Finn Askew.
TJ Hendy, mate.
Episode 2 of Don't Listen to Trendy.
Mate, I feel bloody privileged. Stoked to be on here. It's been a long time coming. I had a few messages blowing up my phone asking why I wasn't on the first one.
You were supposed to be on the first one.
I told them that, but no one believed me. They were blowing up.
Archie Vernon got the ring in because you were sick at the time.
Yes, that's correct. Just to clear that up.
Yes. No, you were supposed to be on the first one, but a little bit of time between drinks for me because Reno runs another podcast, and I think there was a little bit of angst between Tent Talk and Don't Listen to Trendy whether they could use the same producer or not. So,
yep, stirring the pot a little bit, it.
Yeah, those boys run a great podcast, so I hope I'm not in competition with them at all, because this won't be clubby podcast for me, but I've just started it off with that.
With the clubby, yeah. You want to cover a few other aspects, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. So, hopefully Reno's happy in his position at Tent Talk, and one day I might bring him over. But right now we've got the new setup, and it's a one-man job.
It's looking good, mate. We're out here in the park. Sun's nice. It's Chrissy Eve.
Chrissy Eve.
No, not Chrissy Eve. Sorry, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That was a week ago.
Yeah.
You up to anything tonight, mate?
No. So I'm about to go to Soak bathhouse with my partner.
Oh, very cute.
Have a little reset, a little sauna, and a hot pool, cold pool. It's been a stressful time of the year. She's got a kid, I've got a kid, Christmas, presents, tantrums, everything like that.
I understand.
Go do a little reset. She drives back to Sydney on the 2nd, so just a little bit of me and her time before she goes back. But what have you been up to?
Not much, just got back from home with the fam for Chrissy, so always a good time back there. Didn't get as much training as I probably needed to. Did a little bit of line with Zane with what I got covered, but
this is all going up. Zane listens to this podcast.
Don't listen to Zane. I'm not lying.
We told him not to listen.
Don't listen to Trendy.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit of bullshit. You don't know if I'm lying or not. So.
Yeah, fair enough. And it was good to see the fam.
Yeah, it was really good. Just surfed the whole time. You know, it's like down there.
Yeah.
A few little local blow-ups here and there, but few nights at the pub and that with the local crew and some mates you don't really get to see that often, so always a good little downtime and week little reset from the Gold Coast, and being that little clubby bubble that we are in up here.
Yeah, fair enough. And the local blow-ups, what happened there, and that brings me to also maybe you want to share some stories about me coming to the rocks and probably pissing on the wrong tree. Yeah,
the ones that happen when I'm there and don't bring blow-ins like you are more piss takes, more so. It's like there's this one open beach similar to kind of like Stratty, Smoky Cay, and there's just sort of little A-frames out there, and it's sort of like an unwritten rule that if there's a whole beach with the same sort of peak, similar sort of peaks, you don't paddle under the same one.
Yeah.
And there's just always little fucking tussles and
is that an unwritten rule
words.
In your head or just in everyone's head? Do you logically think, I don't want to surf with anyone else, but then someone else shows up and says, I don't want to get attacked by a shark? So
potentially, there is a bit of story developing there with all the sharks and whatnot. So that definitely could be playing a bit of a part. I hate being one of those locals, but I definitely am one of those locals down there.
Yeah.
If I see some paddle, I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just losing my mind because I love going there and being able to surf with no one out.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. You can literally do that pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
And when someone paddles out in your bank,
yeah,
especially blow-in tourists, does your head in.
Yeah. I think you've been well enough removed now that you might not know who the locals are anymore.
Mate, I don't think any South Rocks locals will be watching this at the moment. Actually, this might get a few of them on there, but I'm definitely the best surfer there and the top dog. So I call some of the shots. They call me the king of Horseshoe Point, mate. So, but you've probably had one of the more classic blow-ups there.
Yeah.
Whenever it's been cooking, you've had a blow-in with a number of locals.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty bad when it comes to going and surfing somewhere that's not the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, Ulus.
Yeah.
got into a punch on there, running down the Buddy Hill.
Yeah, that was not great.
Yeah, and then obviously there's that like secret wave at the rocks. They don't like me bringing you out there.
Yeah.
We always cop shit when we do that.
Yeah.
And then there was that one at Gap Beach that morning when the surf was cooking and you got into a tussle, but then you clapped back at them because then you got wave of the day.
Yeah,
paddle behind the rock.
Tall, got spat out in front of all.
I remember just watching that thing down the line, just being like, "Is this dude serious? I've been waiting for this the whole day."
Yeah.
And I was just watching you just get absolutely drained. It was doing my head in, but it was wave of the day for sure. That thing was nuts.
It's a beautiful spot, Southwest Rocks. I obviously stopped in with you on the way to the Iron Series, the Shaw and Partners Iron Series, and then on the way back as well. And it feels like a little second home for me because your family is so accommodating, but also just the memories there and how much I love it.
Yeah, you've been coming there for ages. They love having you there, you know. Like we've been up to a lot there. Like we've surfed a lot and everything. So I think everyone that usually comes back there, like, really enjoys it because it's like it is kind of pretty different to up here. Like it's a small town.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and kind of not see anyone. Like it's a good little joint. I really enjoy it.
Heaps of kangaroos on the golf course.
Heaps of kangaroos.
Yeah.
Heaps of wildlife.
Yeah.
Funny story. They actually just put in those koala zone signs that be like slow down and it tells you your speed. My uncle had like this young little kid, one of my cousin's friends in there, and I'm driving past and he was like, I'm doing 55 kilometers an hour, right? Oh, I better slow down. And the kid in the back chirps up and goes, oh, I thought that meant there was 55 koalas crossing the road. So now that's the running joke. Yeah. Oh, there's 23 kilometers now today. 23 koalas today.
Yeah. It's weird how quickly it changes every time a car goes past.
It's
there's
nuts,
40 koalas and there's 45.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that meant that was how fast the koalas are running.
Maybe the car in front of you just put in an extra 5 as it dropped them. It just dropped them off on the way through. So we haven't done a potty obviously before, and you're now the world Ironman champion. You won it on this stretch right here, this end of this park. We're right now at Currawall Park, and an M shape and a crazy time for you in your life. Your pop just passed away a month before that. You'd sort of been training for the Cooley Gold, and that was your priority. And you had sort of probably not been in your craziest state of training, like you've kind of like from the outside it didn't look like you were going to win that weekend. Like you didn't
totally
look in form. You're mentally not there. You'd had a lot going on in your life, and then you showed up and a wild day doing 3 Ironmans in that morning to then a final that afternoon. Yeah,
mate, it's like with any Iron racing, like especially with that shorter stuff, like if you can get yourself half fit and you can perform on the day, you can kind of make anything happen. Like, and as you said, like, I had my pop pass away and had like a few little down weeks of just sort of ticking over train, not doing anything that special. Priority was, let the helicopter go. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not.
We'll be all right.
But yeah, had been prioritising the gold and doing that training, and even up to like the Wednesday before, I was like umming and ahhing whether I was even going to do like worlds and do irons and that. And like that Wednesday, I think I paddled like 40k on the ski and ran 10k, and then I was like,
14k or 40k?
40. It was like 35k or something. It was like 35 to 40k. And we did a paddle back from. We did like a 25k paddle back.
And then paddled in the Arvo.
And then paddled in the Arvo as well,
right.
into a run. So it was a pretty like loaded up day. JC, he was saying, of course you're gonna win, because you're the freshest. And I was like, mate, I'm telling you, I wasn't fresh. I actually had been busting myself all week trying to get back on the horse for the Cooley Gold. And then, just rock up on the day and felt fit, felt like it was just all flowing, you can get in that flow state and it just all sort of pieces together, like off the beach, I'm usually not that quick. I put myself in a good little position, probably like sitting like fifth or sixth, like 4th or 6th, something like that. And then got that body wave held it just as long as anyone.
Yeah.
And then just sort of, as soon as I can get my own water, I
Yeah.
feel like the race sort of pans out quite well for me then.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit slower off the mark.
Yeah.
That's usually my struggle, is just getting initially to the front. Once I'm there, it's all sweet. But
Yeah.
off the beach and that, it's definitely something I have to work on.
Yeah, and that race, I ran a little visualization before the race, and it was to pull down that front wave in the swim, and then just start, working towards the craft legs. And I got down that front wave right beside you and someone else, and you guys pinched together, and I squeezed out the back.
Yeah.
And then I watched the rest of the race. You carry out my fucking visualization.
You passed it on to me.
It's like I tapped it onto your hip as I got squeezed off. But I think the how nimble you are and light through those potholes that day. I don't know if I could have carried out that visualization.
It was tough. That thing was really it was hard to carry momentum through that 20, 30 meter potholey little section.
They were deep potholes, but also once you guys, I think it was 8 guys on that wave, ended up in the top 8 because you guys kept us disturbing the water through the potholes after that.
Yeah.
And everyone else
can't see them as much as well. Yeah.
But also you guys are then in the craft legs jumping on and it's all washy water, right? And so you guys got away. The whole race sort of went away from us from that point, anyone else.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first times in a while that you've got an M shape that just stayed after the first wave, the same 8 people. And I don't think there was anyone outside of that 8 that got back into it. I'm pretty sure that they were all on that first little body wave.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there was anyone that was sort of an outlier on that, maybe a Benny Carberry.
Yeah, the only ones I could think of are Benny Carberry or Borgie.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they were both on it from memory.
Yeah.
And then, obviously you got enough time up the beach to do a big claim. People got a little bit scared for you because they thought that it was scary close. How much time you left for Borgie and Bevy sprinting up the beach right behind you. But you knew you had enough time. But imagine in that situation doing, is it a Jake Morris or a Mitch Morris?
That was Mitch.
Mitch Morris tripping over around the turn.
There's so many classic videos of that happening in many sports, you know, you definitely don't want to be that guy. But the way I look at it is firstly, the wins don't come often.
Yeah.
And then you're only in that moment once.
Yeah.
Soon as you cross the line, whoop-de-doo, world champ, blah, 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 blah. But you never get to really live that moment
those moments
again.
Of crossing the line. Yeah,
it's literally, it's then a memory. You don't know when you're going to have the next one.
Yeah. I think you're not running up fast enough for you to fall over.
Yeah.
But I watch it back and they're it's a half a second.
Oh, I know. It does look very close. I think there was actually a photo that Borgie posted on his Instagram trying to show how close the finish was. Had a bit of a gap on everyone actually. I just took my time walking up the beach, but I'm grabbing it, and there Bevy and Borgie are a couple of meters behind me, full dipping for the line. Probably won't leave it that long again, but whenever I'm out the front and winning a race and I have a bit of time, I won't be sprinting up the beach to make it look like I've won by forever.
Yeah.
I want to be living in that moment right then and there and making it last as long as you can.
Yeah, for sure. Was there anything that morning or that week I think probably that morning or day that kind of made you feel like you got in a flow state, where you had a feeling come through I'm kind of on right now?
I feel like it was I was moving really well
the
morning of doing those iron heats and everything like that, and I was kind of surprised by that because, as you know, doing the gold prep, we hadn't really done. I think we had done a start for the first time. That it was the Tuesday afternoon board session. I think it was the first time, and that would have been probably 12, 14 weeks into the gold prep. So that off the beach stuff, we hadn't tapped into it, but in the iron heats, felt really good off the mark. Swim first, was pushing the pace and leading around the front. I say it all the time. I go into every race, no matter headspace, what's happened, believing I can win.
Yeah.
And it was probably a little bit of, because the few weeks leading up to it, I wasn't too sure where I was going to race. I hadn't put any expectations or pressures onto me. It was just like, you know what, it's just another race, show up, show face, like have a crack and see what we can do. And sometimes in those moments when you're not thinking about it at all, it's usually when you kind of perform really well. So even like when I got my first round win, and I probably went off around like 12th, like kind of around the mid kind of thing. We had a chat, and I was like, oh shit.
I'd pulled out of the series with long COVID, and I pulled you aside.
And you pulled me aside before, and you're like, I can't remember the whole detail. You said, why not?
Tell me why you can't win.
Tell me why you can't.
Yeah. I said, you're not going to win with this headspace right now. What's going on? Tell me why you can't win this.
And you're like...
And you couldn't give me a reason you couldn't win it. And then I said, well, go win it then. And you did.
I had to get back from that round one bloody catastrophe that I had with Ali going into that last leg. Comfortable, equal first. Jumped in, fell out of my ski. Hit it, Ali snuck under. I got hit. Jai Timpley's mounted his ski on the back of mine. I then got flogged by the next one. And then I turned, slewed.
And you went from second to fifth or something like that, hey? And pretty clear
quickly.
Second as well. But you did, like, maybe if you won, or maybe if you got second that day, you wouldn't have won a round that year, you know?
100%,
so.
Look, like, out of that round, like I was frustrated that, like, I didn't get, like, on the podium or anything like that, but I was actually just happy that
you showed yourself.
That I was actually, like, racing really well, and I was clearly moving well, so it was like, it's only a matter of time before something really cool happens.
That was a wild weekend, right? Because we were supposed to have 3 days of racing that weekend.
Down at Bondi.
North Bondi. We raced the Friday, Saturday, and then the
Friday, Saturday.
And then we had a tsunami warning the Sunday. And that weekend threw me off a lot because the weekend before, me and Ali broke away at North Bondi as well. In the summer of surf at the time. And got away, and I ended up in a sprint up the beach for second with Pooley and got third. I woke up the next day, headaches, couldn't get a COVID test because there was none available. And then so went the whole week, started feeling all right. So I raced and didn't have it in my system anymore, but we still had like the rundown of it all.
Yeah, it takes a while to get over those things, especially if you have COVID. Like, how many athletes have had to deal with that shit, eh? It's not good.
And then go to that weekend with COVID, a tsunami, all this stuff happening, end up with inflammation of my heart. You have all that go on, ended up winning that round because I wasn't racing with inflammation of my heart. To have that conversation with you, that might have just put you in the place to...
It's crazy how things work out, right? You know, it's pretty mental. Those 4 days of racing, what day did you pull out on? Was it on the Thursday or the Friday?
I think I pulled out on the first day of the Curragh, after the first day of the Curragh one.
That was a bloody tough weekend. Like 4 days of like Iron Series racing is like nuts. Like anyone that's competed in that series before, like, you know, you can go to Aussies and that, like it's tiring the racing, but it's more like the time on the beach. But those like Iron Series races, if you ask any debutant, I think they're all very shocked by the pace and the standard. It kind of lifts for that event.
Except for maybe Ethan Callahan.
Besides Ethan Callahan, I feel like he's had probably a feel
an exception
of it more.
to the rule.
But talking to a few others, I reckon it's a big jump up, you know, like...
He's been exposed to it enough with those, like, World Ocean Series finals and stuff like that. And probably, but it's so wild, all the different things that play out.
Well, it was like, I even spoke to Mitch Stidd off the back of it, and he was like, the pace that all the best guys do for a 10-minute iron at the World Ocean Series is exactly then the same pace that then they hold for the 40-minute M shape or enduro.
Like, maybe just not as fast transitions.
Or just like slightly slow, but all the like the main
it's probably
water
3 to 5% off most of the time,
like,
especially Ali. You know, like
that dude's a bloody machine.
So, like, now you've won a world title, you've won 2 professional Iron Series races. Formerly, they were Nutrigrain Iron Series races. Now that's transferred over to the Shaw and Partners Iron Series. I did want to quickly touch on, before we move on, with the world Ironman title, obviously it was an emotional time after that race for your mum and your family
Yeah.
because you'd won it, and it kind of felt like it was perfect after your pop had passed away and everything like that. What did it mean to the family? And
It meant everything. Like, it was like super like euphoric, crossing the line, but then like seeing my mum there and she was crying straight away, and like, because he would normally be watched, like he's like one of the first people I always call like after a race and that, and it just like, it's just a different feeling when you don't have like someone there. Like so as soon as I crossed the line and then did interviews and did all that other stuff, like gave mum a hug and just crying there. Like, I think there's a few photos of it. Like, it is an emotional time. My dad wasn't there. He was kicking. He didn't think I was going to win because I wasn't thinking about. I wasn't even thinking about doing it, and I hadn't been training an awful lot, and I had been just focused on the goal. But like that's like that kind of like little like 2 minutes. Just like represents so much of like the sport, like. And also like my family, how close I am to them, and that.
People don't realise as well all the different stories within a sport, like individual stories. Like, I think in moments like that, people don't realise what you just went through to win that World Ironman title, or just to be on the line. But like even someone like Dan Collins winning the Australian Ironman title, and what he's been through, and perseverance to stay in the sport with all the family stuff that's gone on with him and his sister and different things like that.
Exactly.
But like, there's so many little things that people don't know about, like, and sometimes I wish our sport was bigger so that those things got told a little bit more.
100%. Like, as you've seen, like recently, like Ben and that at World Ocean Series and that, I feel like they're doing their best now to like sort of start telling the stories a little bit more. But like, you look at all those like Netflix documentaries about like Formula One, whatever it is, even like all those Prime ones about the cricket players and all that sort of stuff. It just sort of shows more of an insight onto who the athletes are and allows people to connect more.
What they go through.
And I feel like there's a little disconnect there with our sport. Like, we just kind of, a lot of athletes, I'm not going to name any names because I hate it. Like, very bland. Like, I just want to go out there and have fun. I just, like, like, no expectations. Like, shut up. Like, you're not getting up at 4:30 every morning, training 3 times a day to just go and have fun. Like, own the fact
that you want to win.
Just be real on camera. It makes it so much more authentic, and you actually, like, it'll make our sport bigger and it'll make your brand bigger. That's why, like, people get a bit annoyed or a bit salty with some of the stuff I post and that, but I'm just, like, being my authentic self, and I don't mind stirring the pot a little bit. Like, I feel like I'm pretty calm in the kitchen. Like, I'll happily take it. Quick
little shout out to, or call out to JC. Time to get you on the podcast, mate.
Should be here now.
You got a second? Did he get second?
Over the weekend? Yeah.
His results are back on track. He's able to come on the podcast. He's not going to say anything that throws himself under the bus. I think a few people are scared to come on the podcast because they think I'm going to try to throw them under the bus. But
you can go as deep as you like. Really, like, test the waters.
I think he is a guy, and no harm meant here, but is a guy that sits just this far away from being his true self, like on social media and all that sort of stuff. And I love JC. I think he's a great dude. Come on the podcast, let's get the full self out, like.
I would have loved to have JC.
He was supposed to be on with you and I.
So. It would have been cool having a little back and forth, a little bicker. Who's better at what? He's probably got me all covered, but.
And so I think the real guys over the last little bit, I've struggled with it personally to be my full self because I'm a bit intricate, authentic, different dude. Like I've got a different ego. I've got I feel like I isolate myself a little bit, and I think some of that comes from being Trev's son and probably having my own little thing that I believe, about myself in that case. Maybe that people don't understand it. I have my own little thing about that. But I think you, Ali, and Matt Poole over the last 5 years have been probably the only guys that I could say like their truest authentic self,
Yep.
like in interviews. And I think a lot of people try to be Ali in an interview,
Because he's like
because
the
he's
professional
the nice
yeah.
guy, but that is him.
That literally, yeah, like you can't, like, that is him all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say the same for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Not saying they're not nice guys or nice girls or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's more to it than that. But with Ali, that is him, like,
Yeah.
to a T.
And well, I think Kendrick shows a lot of his cards in interviews. You can tell that he wants to win. Like I respect that about Kendrick. He's a tough racer. Like I think he shows when in interviews that he wants to win. But you and Pooley have punched skis, done all that sort of stuff. You've had your blow ups, but you're willing to be that person on the beach that ruffles feathers as well.
Yeah. I love that about Pooley. Like all the.
And I really respect that about Pooley as well.
It's sick.
I think it's awesome. But I just think if our sport wants to grow, people have to be their authentic self, and not everyone's
sure.
Ali Day that remembers Alan that he met at the park with the Chihuahua 3 years ago.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
The names
Yeah.
of people, like he'll just meet some random person's, let's just say some random person at our club's son's cousin. And he'll
Nephews.
yeah. And he'll remember their name and beeline to them and somehow knows like their whole life story from like, it's just in the back of his head. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so bad at names sometimes. Like,
yeah. So I like, I don't want to, create sort of angles or anything like that. I just want everyone to be their authentic self and be excitable and people to know who we all are and all that sort of stuff. And
for sure.
Yeah. On to another note, the last couple of weeks, obviously the Iron Series kicked off. It's the new Shaw and Partners series. How'd you go? What do you think of it?
Yeah, like it's a tricky weekend, you know. Like you've seen some like pretty big names like that have been around, like, you know, auto qualifying very comfortably every year. Like miss out, like Corey Fletcher, you know, like that's super unlucky and it's tough. I don't mind the dropping 6 people out each weekend. Like it does, it creates a bit of controversy, gets people on their toes. But I would like, I mean, that round 6 is going to be absolutely like fireworks. I mean, we could rock up to Newcastle in 2 weeks' time and it could be 6 foot and you see Ali, like, not to put a mocker on anything, but like someone lose their ski that's like a top dog in the sport, you know, and they don't get through, which would suck. Yeah. But that's the way the sport's going. We've seen heaps of sports go that way. I guess it's the direction we're taking for the next little bit.
Yeah, what did suck about that time was it just had been a bad timing. Obviously for myself, Max, Corey Fletcher, Kendrick got injured. I forget who else missed out. You, Max, Stitt. Stitt, Kendrick,
Corey Fletcher, Kendrick,
and one more.
Who was the other one? Tex.
Tex. And I don't know what Tex's health was, but myself had just had COVID.
You and Maxie.
Stitt, like obviously a debutant. I don't know how his health was, but Corey was sick as well leading into that one. So it just sucks that I was a little bit rattled. I didn't personally get to do a Le Mans start in the Iron Series just because I was sick. All I got to start with was a 3-minute soft sand run and a swim with 28 people where I almost got drowned. That
was mental. Like I back my swimming. I don't back myself off the beach, but I figure with 28 people, I'm probably gonna find myself, you know, in the top 5 or so. Like I'd like to think I'm a pretty decent swimmer, but I remember going around that first can.
It was carnage.
And I was like, holy shit. And I look and I see Ali right there. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, thank God he's right there.
You and him all went around the cans getting drowned together. Like proper arms over shoulders, arms over heads. Like
people grabbing feet, rashies, like the whole thing. Like you got to just get your legs up as high as you can and just kick so hard. Because if your legs are just sitting there, they just slowly go like this because people are just swimming on top of you. Like it's so tricky, those starts. Like, and I guess that was probably the good thing about the enduro, having that run at the start, broke it up a little bit. Like, imagine if it was just like how it has been previously, and we had 28 people going into an M shape.
Yeah.
Imagine getting around one can,
Yeah.
trying to turn that. That'd be absolute hell.
Crazy. It would be wild. But it was like cool to have a different setup. I think Wando and Cronulla, the area there, the kids just love it. It was really cool how much those kids love it.
Oh, yeah.
I gave my rashie to a kid named I forget. I think it was James Henderson, but they called him Hendy.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. And so he got my rashie and stuff.
That's
was cool.
That's really sick.
And I've still got to inform the Iron Series I won't be at Newcastle to do the Nipper Clinic because I'm not driving all the way to Newcastle to do that. I'll do it at Thingo. But yeah, it was a cool experience still, and it was good to be back in for sure. But I think you raced really well, and you kind of looked 2% flat.
Yeah,
like you looked like you didn't have a spring in your step, kind of thing.
It felt like that. Like it's hard to explain. Like I had good prep, like tapered well, like it was all felt like it was coming together. But you know, sometimes you rock up and it just doesn't feel like it's clicking. You don't have that like little extra percent. I kind of just felt like I was stuck in like second or third gear the whole time. Like it didn't feel hard.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like I could go any faster.
Yeah. Whereas
like
I had the opposite. I was 10% off, and 10% makes it feel hard. Yeah. You know, like
100%. Like I was going out on the ski, and that like swimming was sweet, but like I was going out on the ski, and I'd be like going, but not going. But I was like, I'm trying to go harder. Yeah. I'm not going any faster. My heart rate just sort of just staying there.
Yeah.
And just felt like kind of stuck. I had a few little missed opportunities in that M shape that I like probably should have capitalised on and would have got me like probably round about a podium sort of spot. Yeah. Finished up with a 7th in the M, which sucked. Yeah. But
and then 5th the next day.
5th or 6th, I can't remember. Yeah. But like fairly solid racing. Like I was just happy to get it done. Like the thing is now, like if that was like the normal series, that would be my best start to the series forever. Like in terms of like consistent and like where I would place overall. Like I think off the back of last year's rounds 1 and 2, I was like 14th off the back of the weekend, and like I usually find I build through the thing. So if I'm starting there, hopefully by round 6, I'm flaring. We just got to get through a couple more rounds.
Rob and I were saying you're February's finest. You know, like, and it's 1st and 2nd of February. So you're like wine. You get better later in the season.
The thing is though, I don't understand like how it just like, I don't know, maybe it's the fact I'm lighter and people are getting a bit more tired towards the end of the season. Like, you know, we've got a lot of weekends of racing coming up. I think we're about to go into like 4, potentially 5 weekends of racing. Maybe that plays a bit of an impact, which it probably does, but usually just rock up and feel like just fast and fit. Like I'm always fit. The fast is like another little factor, but that weekend, like overall, like fairly solid, happy with it. So good start. But I mean, now it doesn't really matter. Hey, like points back to 0, anything could happen now. You got to go and prove yourself again, you know, like have a good day on the first day and you still then got to do it again, you know. Like if you don't finish a race, you don't even qualify for the next weekend. Like you could get injured or whatever it is. Yeah. Even if you won the first day, you might even have enough points to get yourself through. But like you have to do both rounds, so a lot could go wrong. Yeah, so everyone
much could go wrong. It's hopefully, we'll keep refining it, and I know Earl and the group at Shore and Partners that are sponsoring it now are really like keen on just making it better and doing it better every year, and they're putting the cash into it to support it. And I think, you know, we'll see how it plays out the whole summer, but it's good. I'm just rattled that I didn't get to do a Le Mans start.
Oh yeah, I know. Get him on the ski, get him on the line. Do another Le Mans start. Just do it alongside us. Come down in here and
I'll just do it over by the side.
I fucking smoked you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously World Ocean Series has been going on as well. You've had like one alright race, one that you missed out on the final, but it was funny that our Sunshine Coast Hayden Kenny Classic, me, you and Al pulled down the wave together, and I didn't realise
Because the caps?
that it was us because we have the new caps, and I just remember looking, and then half a second later I was like, oh, that's Ali and Finn. That was a cool little race for us.
It was very cool. Like when you're up the front with your teammates, it is pretty like surreal. Like it's a cool feeling, and it's comfortable. It feels familiar. You know, like you know what the person's going to do and how they're going to run the next little bit.
Yeah.
Like, but it is awesome. Like. We haven't had a whole heap. We've had a few little times where we've been able to do that. Hayden Kenny 2 years ago, you went straight past me. There was no swimming or anything together. You went straight past me. But those times are pretty cool when Ali's just so good at making the most of every single little bit.
It's like if we're up the front, he's usually there. Except I haven't been. Like it seems like my good races, Ali won 2 times. Oh no, actually, sorry, Ali was in this race. It was probably his worst race of all time. But so Hayden Kenny, he wasn't there because he was injured. But my Australian Ironman race, the final at Broadbeach, where I almost won it.
He got smoked.
Brooksy won it. Ali got smoked.
Yep.
I thought he was injured. That's how far back he was. But he got stuck in the shore for like 5 minutes rolling. But
I think he was going for the trifecta the doing all 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe all 3. Maybe there wasn't a world title that year.
I'm still really excited about the rest of the World Ocean Series, and I'm trying to get myself 100%. Like it's taken me a bit to recover from doing those 2 races that day, but also trying to race the weekend before after having COVID. I think I got close to putting myself back into the same position with inflammation of the heart or chest or something as before, but I've been doing everything right to like sleep and rest and stuff, but I just really want to come good by Manly and Shannon Eckstein Classic to just go and have those moments and go and share some funny, like sprint around, and I think hopefully we're all at the pointy end for that. But just one of the questions that I obviously asked, similar to what I asked Ali and Archie about.
I'm trying to remember what it might have been.
The Taplin. I'm going to ask you.
I was thinking about that actually on the way here, and I was trying to narrow it down to what I would think.
I'm going to ask you 2 different questions, right?
Yep.
All right. So you've got.
Go ahead, shoot them.
You've got 6 to 8 foot Currawa. Okay.
Yep.
You've got.
Offshore.
It's perfectly glassy.
12
to 14 second period, like
right.
Straight, scary.
Yep. Is there a third bank in contention?
Yes.
There's a third bank in contention.
Third kappa.
Right, okay.
Like shark can kappas.
Okay, yep.
And it's ski board swim. Taplin relay. Anyone from any time in history. And I don't try not to be recency biased and don't name people from our surf club just for the sake of it. I think Archie just named everyone from surfers.
Because that was the way I was going to go. I was going to be super biased with there. Actually, it included some people that have been at surfers but are elsewhere and whatnot. Okay. What am I going to do? All right, I'm going to chuck. Ali's not getting a run in this.
Yeah.
Because I'll leave current people out of surfers. I'll go.
You can. He's allowed to be in there because it's not recency bias or surface bias to put Ali Day in it. But
okay, right. Yeah. We can do it like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm gonna go. Kai Hurst and Phil Clayton swimming.
Yeah. So last. Which one are you getting to sprint up the beach?
I don't know. How did Phil run?
I think Kai was faster.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
On the board, am I allowed to chuck Trev in there?
Of course.
I am?
Yeah.
No surface bias
Well,
in there?
I think it's hard to be biased when he was one of the greatest men and board paddlers of all time.
Okay, sweet. Well, I want Trev, and I want... Who else do I want on the board? I want... This is tricky, being put on the spot. I'll go to ski.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ali and Shannon.
Okay. Yeah, more. I think that the reason that I agree with having Ironman in that position is because they're probably more skillful in big surf.
That's my thought process. Like, a lot of our big time ski paddlers.
Yeah.
Could even put Slip Benny Carberry in there actually. But I'll stick with Shannon and Ali.
And Clint was good in big surf and did have the Ironman background, won 10 ski titles, but you don't have to have him in there.
Shannon, Ali ski, Trev board. Who's joining him?
Sorry, Stewie McLaughlin, but 8 to 12 foot, 8 to 10 foot, or whatever I said.
There will be no laid-down paddlers featuring in this list, so don't get your hopes up.
Kai Taylor.
I'm going to go with... Now, mine's gone blank. I can't even think of a board paddler. Let's go Grant Kenny.
On the board.
Let's go Grant Kenny.
Okay.
Let's go Grant Kenny, and then
I'd move Grant onto the ski if you're going to put Grant in, and then bring Shannon back to the board.
Or Ali. What do you think? I feel like Shannon was so good on the ski though.
They're both so good.
But he was really good swimming though as well. Yeah, let's go. I'll go Grant and Ali on the ski, Shannon and Trev on the board, Phil and Kai Hurst swimming.
Okay.
Lock that one in.
Beauty. Awesome. Okay, and now it's supposed you're at Perth, right?
All right, so it's flat.
It's dead flat.
Onshore.
And it's board relay.
Yep.
It's onshore. Shannon, my dad, and Hugh Doherty have got thrown into a board relay together. Who do you counter them with?
No one. What do you mean? Like that's like
who do you put up against them to even go close?
Who do we have again? Hugh,
Shannon, and my dad.
You got to chuck Ali in there,
and you probably got to chuck Tex in there.
You probably got to that condition. I'm not chucking Tex off first.
Yeah.
Well, Ali, Tex.
That board paddle at Perth that Tex did was probably the best flat water board paddle in a long time.
100%. I'd prefer to chuck him second or third just to give him open water and he's not in amongst it all as much. Yeah. I feel like that would allow him to, actually get to work. Because I feel like even if he put Ali first, he's going to be on the first bump or runner. Like, there's no one that, he's just, and they're pretty long courses there as well. I would go, you have to go Ali, Tex, and Current.
Yeah, you could do anyone.
They have to be Current.
But I'm thinking you need a third paddler to sprint up the beach, and I've got someone at the top of my mind purely they've won a lot of board relays, and they're third paddler every time.
Corey Fletcher.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, have to. Just to maybe sit on the wash of those guys and beat them up.
I'd love to see that play out. Surely there's an AI generated thing that we can put them in the situation, run them through heaps of simulations and see who comes out.
Well, you got to remember there's probably another 14 teams, so they're not completely, side by side.
Yeah, but true. Play a bit of a part.
Yeah.
But are we saying just it's that team versus this team? Is that what we're saying?
No, well, if you
still got
all the other teams, but
right. I think that's probably your best team. I reckon you'd have a decent shot.
Yeah.
But I still like that first team. That's pretty. Yeah. That's pretty next level top dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably 9 times out of 10 they're going to get the job done.
You're probably going to have to put Huey first. Shannon second and my dad third to sprint up against Corey.
Yep.
And
I think they're probably going to want a little jump.
In Perth as well, the reason that sprint up the beach would be good is because my dad was quick, but also because he had such long legs to be off the board before Corey, get a little head start on him. That would be a good sprint finish.
But have we seen, hello, a little dog has joined the podcast. Welcome to Don't Listen to Trendy. How you going?
Hey? I'll throw your ball for you. Oh, you're going.
See you later. Oh, no, you come back. You ready? I'll throw it. We've got fans running in from everywhere, look at the park. They're just waiting behind this tree here, waiting to get an autograph off TJ Hendy.
Okay, so predictions. Who's winning the men's and women's? You got to take yourself out of this. So say they're second place. All right. Who's coming second to you in the men's?
Because
series?
I was just going to say me.
Yeah. Who's coming second to you in the World Ocean Series? And who's coming second to you in the Australian Ironman title? And then who's winning all the women's ones? And sorry, you can't say Lucy.
I can't say Lucy?
No,
Oh,
yeah.
all right, fine, okay.
'Cause
So I'm going to say they got second place.
yeah.
All right. Ali.
Okay, yeah.
Chicks for second place. That's key. Remember that one.
My prediction is for the girls. I think Georgia's going to come good for the third
weekend of the series.
Weekend. She'll be fitter by then.
Yep.
And a little bit timed it better.
Yep.
I've got a feeling that Lucy's breakthrough is going to be at the Shannon, and she'll win her first pro race at the Shannon.
Yep.
And then I think she'll carry on and win the Australian Ironwoman title.
Yep. Show a bit of back end.
Yeah, I think once she wins one, she'll start to win a bit.
That's what I've said. Like, she's been now around the mark, raced at the front of all these races for ages, and hasn't had one of those major wins. But you go back and look at, say, Ali's career.
Yeah.
When did he win his first race? Like, he was in the series since he was 19. I think he won he won the series before he even had run a race. Is that correct?
His first series, he won the first race, I'm pretty sure. But I think he was 24.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then now look at it.
Yeah.
Like, so he went let's say 4 or 5 years of not winning anything, and now if he doesn't win, everyone's like, oh, okay, what happened there? You know, I agree. Lana obviously hasn't shown early form, but that has changed over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Off the back of that series and that, her and Ali were dominant. You know, obviously they won both weekends.
I think Lucy in that needs to recognise how good Lana is in little turns around the cans and the first few steps in transitions and stuff like that. If Lucy can start to do that with her, then those moments are going to hurt Lucy less.
I'd be worried for everyone else. I've done nothing the last week and a half.
Yeah.
She's
been tearing us
She's
apart.
been killing herself.
I'm
taking the downtime, but she goes the other way.
Yeah.
This morning, no coach in the pool. Set was 4.5K.
Yeah.
Wasn't long, it was 50s. I hate anyone that swims with me knows I hate 50s.
Yeah.
And it was just killing me. I was like, can we take this off? Can we take this off? And Luce, on the other hand, was changing the set on the paper, making it longer or making the time cycle shorter. But I had read the text already that our coach Kyle Samuelson had sent that morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, that did not say that, did it?
Did she go for a 40k run today as well, probably?
Probably not yet, but she's probably doing that right now while I'm not there.
Right, so you don't catch her.
Yeah. Georgia, Sean Partners Iron Series, I'll say these are all for second.
Lizzie looks good for that, doesn't she? I think she had a good result.
Actually,
early.
you have all those 5 chicks that included Georgia, Lana, Luce, Tiani, and Lizzie.
Yeah.
They were I feel like they're quite a step above
everyone.
The next group.
Yeah. There's people that throw themselves in there for moments.
Yeah.
Olivia Corrin throws herself in there for moments.
But distinguished, that's your 5.
Yeah.
I think Tiani off the back of a 7,000 win at down at Glenelg, that's massive points. It's somewhere between a third and a fourth. It's a bit higher than a fourth. I don't know what the overall standing is for that, but we have 3 10,000s left, another 7,000 at Maroochydore.
Yeah.
That racing is so difficult to get real consistent results. Even this year, with the boys, Ali and Joe last year had very consistent results.
This
and
year,
this year
all over the shop.
It's all over the shop.
Bevy had 2 shockers, and then he's had a good 7,000.
Of one.
Yeah.
Ali won the first one and then came 14th.
Benny Carberry snapped his paddle in the first one. Did he even go to Glenelg?
Last, and then he won. And then he won. So those switch with those 2.
Yeah.
I'll go Georgia Iron Series. I'll go Lana Summer Surf and Lizzie for the Australian title.
Yeah.
That's all second place. Sorry, girls.
Fair enough.
And for the boys, I already covered that, didn't I?
Yeah, you said Ali. Okay.
Actually, I'll chuck JC in there for the Australian Ironman title.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I'm going to throw Zach Morris in for the Australian Ironman title. I'm going to throw Benny Carberry in for the series. I think he's going to be that guy that just got through.
Just got through what, each weekend? Or
no, the first weekend, and he
Yep.
got better. The next 2 weekends will suit him more.
Yep.
And then I think, obviously, like I'm separating both you and Ali for this because like I'm biased
It's
as
probably,
well,
it's probably a good way to do it.
because
Yeah.
I'm going to be flying by Australian titles too. So
I should have left
Yeah.
all surface people out, really. But
and then and then for the World Ocean Series, I think. Look, I would say Joe, but he's already had 2 absolute stonkers and didn't have a 7,000 result at Glenelg, so he has to turn it around right now. I think Benny Carberry as well, because he's
the Iron Series and the World Ocean Series.
Yeah, I think he's.
And you got Zach for the Australian title.
Yeah, but they're all 4th places because I'm excluding 3 people of each. But that's where we're going to call it, bruh. Appreciate you for coming on.
Love being on Don't Talk to Trendy.
Don't listen to Trendy.
Don't listen to Trendy.
You're not allowed to talk to me.
I won't talk to him though.
Appreciate everyone for listening or not listening. Thanks.